All right, race fans, here we go. Tonight, we are going to see who goes to the Final Four here for the final race of next week here at the Clean Racing League. Here, and check them out at cleanracingleague.com. And qualifying, well, just got done as we're going to grid it up. But before we grid them up here, we're going to bring up what the playoff grid looks like. And also got somebody up here in the booth with me. Caleb Smith, you've heard me talk about him before. I'm going to say he's the road race ringer here in the Clean Racing League. Caleb, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be in the booth, broadcasting with you tonight. So we'll happy to, broadcast the race, see how it goes.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Well, tonight is the night that drivers, it's kind of a make it break it night here. Last week was an exciting race. Rob Sherwood survived last week. He wasn't here. He's here this week, but he sits third on there. Lane Hoosler already advanced by having that dominating win last week. Joshua Altice in a pretty comfortable position. Still anything can happen. Rob and Matt are the ones that are right there. I'm going to say Matt more than Rob, but, Rob's only two points up like you was talking about. And we'll talk about that more as the race goes on, but you got Jeremy Moyer, Jason Stewart, Zachary Peterson right there behind them. It ought to be a pretty thrilling night because right now, look at who's on pole. Nathan Brown. And I don't know, Caleb, you've heard me before. That man comes up with the wildest paint jobs on his trucks. And right now he's got his corn hub machine. Him and his corn, hot popping out here tonight.
Yeah, He definitely has the wackiest paint schemes. Even from when we had the Cup Series, he just always had the paint schemes. Him and that team. So
Brown Racing, yeah.
So, but I had talked to Nate earlier, and Nate said that he hadn't had a lot of practice here, and he said the goal was to get Jeremy into the Final Four.
Okay.
So, he's kind of starting on pole. He's got Jeremy behind him. So I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do with the start, whether he's going to let Jeremy go or if, you know, he's going to let him fall in and tuck him behind him.
Well, it's like what you said. I think Jeremy pretty much needs a win, or he needs the man that's sitting right behind him, Matthew Dyer, to just have a bad day, which could happen. We were talking about Rob. Rob's starting 10th back there. That's like in a hole at this track. I'm going to say that. He's going to have to be kind of aggressive here on the start to get up front because it's Auto Club. And you've raced, I'm going to say you've raced Auto Club. I've raced it. I've seen this track many and many times play out. It plays out as a fuel mileage, track position style race. And that's kind of how you have to come in with a mentality here, especially the Clean Racing League, because they don't have many cautions. There's going to be a lot of cautions, then maybe you can play a little different. But where Rob is starting at Auto Club standards, let's say it that way, that's in a hole. Because to try to come through the field, unless he's just got a blazing fast truck, and he's fast, just don't want to get caught up in nobody else's stuff. But him and Matthew need to be, I'm going to say, in that top 5, top 6 range all day long in order to stay where they're at.
Yeah, and, for Rob, like you said, he's kind of starting in a hole, 10th. And, he kind of, at the start, he generally saves, so he has that long run speed. But, the past 2 races we've had here, we've had 2 cautions, and they've generally happened in the middle of the pack. So, we'll kind of see how that kind of shapes up. We're coming green here.
Green flag, here we go, racing here at Auto Club, man. The back Matthew didn't get going there, but Nathan gets on the outside up front, and we were talking about it. As he's going to complete this first lap coming into turn 1. We'll talk about it. You just said he likes long run. This track is not for the people who like conserving, let's say it that way. This is because here's the thing. Let's say Nathan and Joshua just run their trucks hard for 10 to 15 laps. They're going to get it, and another guy's back there, he's trying to save. They're going to get such a big lead. By the time they start catching them or even catch back, it's pit stop time again. That's the problem with this track and tracks like some of the other ones. Las Vegas, Charlotte can be like that a little bit. So tracks like that, and Nathan does lead that first lap. But, you can save a little. It's just you've got to be, I like to use the word, Caleb, semi-aggressive, so to speak. You got to be aggressive. It's got to be conservative. So who's that coming on the bottom? Matthew?
Well, and here, if this race goes green, we should see 3 pit stops. Because I had run some laps earlier, and my telemetry was telling me 28 laps, and that was pushing. So anywhere from 27 to 30 laps, if they're saving behind a car, in the draft, that could play a different role. But I was also talking to some of the S&B guys earlier, and they were saying 20 laps in, the truck really loosens up. So that could also play a part into what we're seeing later, and the grip levels falling off. It's a really bumpy track.
Well, you sit battle here for the lead, and obviously Altice is definitely faster than Brown, but here's something I want to point out about this track. Being faster than another guy, it takes about a lap or so before you can get around him. It's not one of these tracks where you dive on the inside and boom, you're just going to take him in that first turn. You see right here, man, what Altice is having to put up with. Brown, yeah, he might be a little bit slower, but he's holding him off right here. He's finally going to be able to make that pass. Yeah, so, well.
Oh, he's on the outside.
Yeah, dang.
Oh, man,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about in this track here. It's tough. It's tough to pass. And that's why I say track position is crucial here. And you want to talk about Rob Sherwood. He's back here tonight. Look, not coming through the field. I'm not saying we won't have a hard charger. It's going to be a tough passing style, dude.
I think what he's doing is he's saving. He knows everyone up front is pushing hard. You got Jeremy behind Nathan right now. I think they're working together to try to get past Josh, so then they could get Jeremy up to the front. Because, like I said, Jeremy is the only one from that team that is in the playoffs. They're trying.
He's right there in third.
Yeah, he's 10 back. He needs to win or have a really good points day and have Matt and Jason, because Jason's tied with Jeremy at the moment. So
Yeah.
they, it's just and they cleared Josh, or Jeremy did. Now you got two Brownie guys up front leading 1-2.
Well, now, if Nathan is going to do what he's going to do, he needs to be careful, because if he gives up too much here, then he's going to bring Altice with him. Again, this is one of those momentum tracks. You know it pretty good. You've got to keep your momentum up going through the turn. So he doesn't want to get up there and try to crack that throttle too much, because then Brown will end up back in 10th somewhere before he knows it, trying to do what he's going to do. So want to wait for the opportunity. Here comes Moyer.
So I think Nate's going to let him go and slot in behind him.
If he's going to do it, he needs to do it now.
Yeah. Oh no, they're still side by side.
Yeah, they're still side by side. Yeah.
See, and then Jeremy just lost so much momentum because Nate was on the outside. Now it's going to allow Josh to push Nate on the front.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. Momentum here,
Yeah, it is a heavy momentum track. And, I've had it happen to me. I'll have a nice run, and it gets killed in the corner because I had nowhere to go. So.
But that man in 4th place, the defending series champion. I call him Ghost, Abram Ghost right there. And, not the season he wanted. Obviously missed the chase, missed the points, but he would definitely like to win. Here's another thing, Caleb. I want to see guys. I understand guys in championship playoffs and all that, but I want to see the other guys get up here and run and win. Not just because, oh man, Altice, he's there, he's running for the Final Four. So I want to win the race. I'm not out here to wreck him, but I want to win. And there's many times I've seen that, like, oh well, I don't want to get in his way. Or, get up there and win. That's Ghost. He'd like to cap this, season off. It's kind of one that he'd probably like to race for a win.
I'd say right now the top 6, 7, like underneath a blanket at 8, just all underneath the blanket right now. Something goes wrong, they're all there. But and that's kind of the beauty of racing. We have the playoffs. There's 7 drivers still in the playoffs right now. This is an elimination race, so one wrong move could eliminate you from contending for a championship. So
good thing we're at Auto Club, though. I mean, this track, not a lot of cautions happen. Obviously, it's a clean racing league, and it's in their name. I say it all the time. 3 wide back there. Good.
Yeah, they are. Oh, and Ghost is part of it too. Ghost is going to drop back here. He's in 8th. And back to the whole momentum thing. He was in 3rd 2 laps ago. Now he's in 8th. So I mean, just like one wrong move, and you're dropping back.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Got Jacob Grant. Dude, when we were talking about Grant, I've been talking about him a couple times, and he's a past champ here in the series, just not had the runs that he's wanted. Maybe tonight Auto Club's one of these tracks where you can, because it's all, you've got the draft here, you're going to be under a blanket for a little bit, track position's king. If he can get it made up, and they're still going at it for the lead up, I mean, Altice's not going to give up. Right, but Grant's one of those. And then you were talking about Evan Kinney earlier. I mean, Kinney, who dominates his place, but he struggled this season too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the race statistics, but he's not in the playoffs, and but he, at this track, he has the most wins in league history, at 2.
Nice.
So he's up there, he's battling. So I'm very interested to see what he can do. 3 wide.
You want to talk about
right
momentum? Look at this right here. This is a battle for the top spot, and Matthew was able to get around them all, and Nathan lost the momentum. Altice lost the momentum, and almost got Kenny and all them. So that's how fast it can turn here at this place.
And they're still 3 wide for second.
Now, they won't stay like this forever. Obviously, towards the end of the run, they're going to get single file. This is exciting because, well, the tires are still new. Oh, a bump, man. I can say,
See, and that's What a save by Evan. I mean, they're all driving really hard. 2 races left till the end of the season. Evan's still trying to get his first one of the season.
Well, now Altice wants to be careful because he's not 100% out of the water. Mathematically, he could. Well, Lane didn't. I don't know what Lane just says. I'm just riding the back, but mathematically, Altice could fall out of the top 4. He's 19 points up. Now it would take. I don't know all the penalty points and all that stuff. I don't really get into all that because that's just a whole new ball game. So he doesn't want to wreck out of this race. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah, in last year's championship race, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it.
That's a wild one.
Yeah, he had it in the bag. But he's a racer. I can't call him for wanting to go for the win. Things just unraveled, and things can unfold, and there's your championship. So
absolutely.
But I think he just needs to have a clean day. Lane's already locked into the championship with his win last week, Chicago win. So I mean, all Josh has to do is literally just stay clean, and he'll be there next week.
Yeah.
But
he's falling all the way back to 9th too there, just by that little bit of mess up, and that allowed Rob to actually slip up here along with Jason Stewart. There was another one outside looking in who needs a good night, but you're talking about Jeremy's falling back to 7th. So, but we were talking earlier about Rob. You're talking about he's saving time. Look how long it's taken him to do it. Like I said, 14 laps into this one. Another 10 or 12, give or take. And we're on pit stop. So by the time he catches to the front, we're on the pit cycle, and then it's like a cycle over and over and over.
Yeah, but I mean, him saving in the beginning, because all these people have eat up their tires. This place shreds tires with how bumpy and how much you're having to drive the car.
And I'm gonna make a bet with you. Somebody's going to take 2 tires at the end of this race, and those 2 tires are going to outdo 4. Because I've had, and there's nothing against it. I know you drive, but I've had many people get up in the booth with me and challenge me on that. Oh, Auto Club eats tires up, because I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Because tires really don't matter here at this track. I'm not saying they don't, but when you're that far back, they won't. I've been fooled I don't know how many times. He's fast right now. Matter of fact, let's look. What was his last lap time? He ran a 43.82 to a 44.01 to a 43.78. So, well, Evan Kinney was a little faster, but then Stewart ran an 85 to 82. So yeah, he's a touch faster. That's what I mean. Even to Dyer, who's running at 01 that last time. That's what 10 and a half, give or take.
Yeah, but I mean, look here. If a late race caution comes out,
oh yeah,
I could see the two tires stop working.
Yep.
Long run, I do not see the 2 tires stop working.
No. You've got to time that right. I'm with you on that one.
We got one loose on the back. They saved it. We're good.
Yeah, that was Ghost hanging on. They didn't see him. That's what it was. They didn't see him.
So he was up at the wall, and the next thing you know, he's down on the apron. So, but he saved it. It's a good save.
And this place, we talk about it. It can get like that tight, loose feeling. It's a wild track. I mean, you're out here. You got to keep the momentum up. Right now, Rob is running times. Well, that last time he had to go around. See, now here's what hurts him. That last time when he had to go past, hurt him a little bit. But he's running times because he ran a 44.23 to 43.97, 44.17, 43. So that's what I'm saying. He passing cars. It takes so long to pass cars here. This Auto Club, and I don't know.
Speaking of passing, we just had a passenger lead. Evan just took the lead. He's going for number 3 here, I think.
Blazing, man. Yeah, he's been pretty quick on the track. I've been watching his times. And that's kind of what we're going to see now. We're getting into that point where you're going to start, I call them clusters. You're going to just see the guys, they'll be running nose to tail, and the next thing you know, they'll make a pass. Before we were seeing that bunch of side by side. Now you're starting to see them spread out, and it's kind of like, 14, 15 laps into it, tires start, falling off a little bit. But these lap times, everybody's in 44s, all the way back to 17th position, and actually between everybody, we got first Nathan Brown, first one coming on pit road. So 44 to 43.99 is what Rob Sherwood did, but you've got 07, 24, 02, 09, 07. I mean, look at Sherwood right now. He's leveled off up to fourth. That's what makes it so tough here to pass. I mean, just those lap times right there. I mean, when everybody is within, a couple tenths of each other, nobody's just coming through this field like gangbusters. You're going to have to just pick your way through one by one.
Yeah, and up until this point, that's what he's been doing. Rob's 6 places up from the starting position. He's kind of yeah, and I mean he's still moving forward. Rob just took third from Matt, so he's up 7 positions now. But he's kind of plateaued at that 1 second mark. Nate's coming out of the pits now. I'm really interested, with what Nate's doing. Because like I said, 25 to 28. 26. Nate Brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So with Nathan, his pit strategies have always been different. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. With this race, I feel like the track, it's such a big track, and these are the trucks, so like they're very draft heavy cars. You don't really, you can stay in a pack tighter with the trucks than you can an Xfinity car. But
Xfinity cars are different.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Cup. You can stay in a pack in the Cup car here.
Yeah, that thing's got massive downforce.
The trucks are similar. They're aero dependent, and you pit, and we got another one coming down here. Tyler. First.
But we're gonna start seeing some pit stops from now, probably to when you were talking about lap 28. But you definitely don't want to get caught running out of fuel here.
Oh no, because it's 2 miles. You run out in turn 1, you're gonna be clutching the entire way. So I've had it happen. It's not very fun because you just got everyone flying past you. So it's not the most enjoyable thing.
Now we talk about Rob, and we're going to talk about Rob a little more throughout the race here. I keep my fingers crossed with him because many a times I've seen him down here get up to the front, dominate, and then something tragically happens to him at the end. That has been some of the norm this year, and it's like, come on, man, I can't believe it. I said maybe he's gotten the monkey off his back. Hopefully he has. But even right here, you can see how fast he is. It's just this product of this track, how long it takes you to pass him. Which again, that goes back to, look, 36, 47, 38. Everybody's 44. Hey, if you're not, and Caleb, I'm going to throw out some numbers out here that somebody may like, well, dang, it blows their mind. In order to just flat go right by somebody, you need a solid at least 2/10 faster or more just to solidly pass a person. To casually pass them, which means takes about a half to a whole lap to finally get around them, yeah, that's in the 10th range. If you're sitting at a half 10th, you're going to struggle a lot of times trying to pass that person. And sometimes that person can hold you up, and eventually, whatnot. Well, you can see the new tires more dangerous here.
Yeah,
but that's kind of how
leaders are fitting here.
Yeah, That's
Yeah,
actually here comes
Evan,
Grant,
Jacob.
Evan. Like Stewart's gonna be the one pushing it out there a little bit, but just to come around a guy time-wise. So bringing that up, it goes back to lap times here. They are so on top of each other. Unless a guy slips, I don't think you're going to see too many people blow right by somebody on this track. Unless you've just got like that many more lap newer tires and you're on their back bumper. But equal to equal, it's a tough track. It really is. Here's on Sherwood. He's going to come in. Said 28 is the number, and there he goes. He's coming in at 26.
Well, I mean, you know, and also like running out front, having no one in front of you, you're taking the brunt of the air. You know, you're pretty much punching, you know, the hole in the air for everyone else behind you. So they can save more than you. So you're burning way more fuel than the person behind. So you know, I think that's why Evan pitted so early, was because you know, he burned up so much fuel being out front for as long as he was.
This is going to be a fuel. I mean, unfortunately, Auto Club usually comes down to fuel mileage. So it'll be interesting to see who takes that last pit stop. If we don't get a caution in between that time, I'm with you. This place is really dependent. And iRacing has done a very good job of, and you wouldn't know what this is unless you got an actual car truck, which is arrow push, which is kind of what you kind of getting to. There's a car behind you. He can get so close to the one, but just can't quite break that barrier. He gets really tight going into turns and stuff.
Yeah, that's massive in like IndyCar. You get it all the time, especially in like all the open wheel stuff.
iRacing's done a good job of it, implementing.
Oh yeah, no, it sucks, but like, you know, it's accurate. You know, it's accurate to what you see, you know, in real life with IndyCar and NASCAR, and you know, so it's like watching these virtual races. It feels no different than watching a televised race. You know, just with how accurate everything is. I think everyone has made the top 5.
That's it. Top 5. No.
You know,
Matthew got Dyer, Ghost. Now I will say, Ghost is probably one of the ones here has been known for stretching fuel. And if you want to talk about somebody, if you watch him week in and week out, he's usually one of the ones who stretches it longer than anyone. How he does it, I have no clue, but I've seen him do it. Altice is pretty good at doing it too, but Ghost really, I've seen him do this many a times, just out there. Whether it pays off here, if he can make it work, and it goes back to that last pit stop when they're going. Let's say they make that last pit stop with. Well, they're going to have to make it with at least 30 laps. He's went 30 laps. Let's say they go 30 laps, or even 28. He's coming in now. Let's say they go 28 laps on that last pit stop. If he can make this work by, I mean, because right now he's got an 8-9 second lead. And if he comes in, and if he can still have a lead, I don't think he will, but if he can somehow make it work where he has a lead, that 2 tires that we're talking about. Because if he can get a 10-second, 8-second lead with 28, 25 laps to go, he might can hold it off. It would be a gamble, but might be able to do it here. The reason I say might at this track, because I've been fooled many a times by saying, no, it won't work. It won't work. And then next thing I know, guy with 4 tires, they can't catch him, and it's like, okay.
I would say, you know, if we're talking fuel mileage, another guy to watch out for, Matt Dyer. I've seen plenty of races, not in this league, but like just in other leagues, fuel mileage. He has a lot of race wins. I would say
he pitted at lap 29. Matt did.
Yeah,
he pitted at lap 20, so he actually went further than most. Ghost would be the only other one that went further, went to lap 30. So Matthew and Ghost, and obviously Altice, who is now on pit road, those three, just by you speaking of it, solidly. I mean, the only other guy near him is Jason Stewart at 27, 26 for Justin Carey. So they're a good, 3-4 laps, maybe 3 laps at least better.
The only thing that I wouldn't say I don't understand would be like, so they're saving fuel and that's, you know, that's good, you know, it's a fuel mileage race, you know, it's things you got to do, you know, save a little bit of fuel here, have it for the end. I don't see, it's a 3-stop no matter what they do. They you know, they push it to 30, they're still going to have to pit at lap 90.
Yep.
You know, 60, 90. So like, I do not see the benefit in
2 tires is the only thing I could see. That takes us back to that. I'm with you. I've wrapped my head around pit strategy so many times. Sometimes I don't know. You know, it's like, okay, I don't know what in the world they're doing. Yeah, I'm like you. 2 tires maybe. That might be a thing.
You know, and sometimes the 2 tires works. You know, like if it's 10 laps to go, and you're so far ahead, but you got to make that fuel stop. 2 tires. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, at this track you can go further back. Again, you got to keep in mind about this track. Remember, this is not a track to where like they're going to just catch you in a couple laps. No. Remember, Rob Sherwood didn't get up front. It took him how long? Matter of fact, he never got to the front in all of the pit cycle. So look how long it took him to get to the front. What, 14, 20 laps or more?
So right.
That's the thing about the track. Auto Club is just one of these weird tracks, you know. I guess that's why they demolished it, I reckon. I don't.
Well, like it produced great racing, you know. It needed a repave, you know, but it's bumpy. Like it's like my wheel, like when I race, like even when I did the practice laps to get the fuel numbers for the broadcast, going into turn 1 and turn 3, it's like my steering wheel is coming out of my hands, you know. and you know, we're riding on, I don't know who we riding on.
We're right on what Eric Anderson, right? What he looks like here on there. I mean, you can see a little bumping right there. I mean, we're not going to feel the effects that he is, but we can see.
Oh no. So you can see
the steering wheel. I mean, you can see him, you know, rocking a little bit. Yeah, right there, bad. Yeah, 3 and 4 right there. So. You can see the truck's pushing right now. That's a push right there a little bit. So he's got to come off that throttle a little bit. It's almost a Charlotte effect right there. And you Charlotte, you come out of turn 4, that thing wants to go to the wall.
Yeah.
Just a little bit on it, man.
It just jumps out to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you think you can make it too.
I think he's going where the trucks in front are. Now, I don't think the air from those trucks are going to affect where he's at, given how far back he is. Let's see what he's 8 tenths off. And he ran his last lap was 43.70, so actually a little bit. I mean, those guys are battling obviously in front of him, so but he's a little off the pace from what Kenny, who's running a 40 and a 39, and that's another thing. You look at, you know, Jacob Grant, Kenny up front, they're running almost identical times. Sherwood's back there running 43.0. His last ran a 23. It's kind of like these guys are just all over the place time-wise. One lap is kind of a little fast, next lap's a little slow, but yeah, that's good. That's a good showing there, just to show you what he's doing. And you know, Evan, absolutely, you know, just I wouldn't say dominating out front. You know, he's still got cars behind him, but like once he got there, other than the pit stops, he's staying out there. You know,
Yeah.
you know, he's always been good here. You know, even in the other, even in the Cup League when we ran out of Club, he's always up there. Um, so,
And
but
some
you know,
guys like these style tracks, you know, the momentum and all. You would think a track like this would benefit a conservative driver, but and the reason I say that is because I'm one that I liked, never was very aggressive when I raced. I liked it, saving the tires and all, but there was tracks that I knew I could. I liked Charlotte. Charlotte was a fun style track. But my problem there was I had to be a little aggressive at the first so that I wouldn't lose so much ground trying to do on a long run. Because after a while, you know, Charlotte's kind of like here. Get single file, and if you're going to pass somebody, you're going to it's going to be like a one at a time style type pass. And usually it takes you a little bit to get around them. So even though I enjoyed the track, I had to race it differently. So, unlike some of the other tracks where, yeah, tires are beneficial. Now, Nathan's kind of struggling a little bit.
well, you know, Nate also pitted on lap 19. He was the first one to start the pit cycle. So his tires are, at this point, just gone. But Rob is one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now.
He's got the newest tires.
Yeah, lap 26 was his pit lap. But you know, also Matt's going through the field. He's setting some pretty good numbers right now. You know,
Ghost, I mean, if you give anything, Ghost ran a 23 that last lap. The problem is being marred back so far back, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. If you're so far back, trying to catch up, doesn't matter how fast you are, because even though he's fast, he ran a 23 to the fastest. Quite sure. We'll go off of Sherwood. Sherwood's battling now, so definitely will slow down. But I think he was in he's in the 70s. So you're only talking about maybe 3-4 tenths. He's gonna get a bump. Gonna bump him in the back.
well, and you know, I think Jacob understands that there's no point in battling Rob. You know, it's better to slot in.
Why not?
Well, you know, it's all a time thing. You know, like if you spend your time battling, you know, you got to think of the end goal. You know, they both want to be up front. They both want to be leading the race. They both want to win. You know, that's the goal. You know, you want to be in victory lane at the end. Rob obviously has the quicker truck at the moment, and that's also including Evan.
If I'm Evan, I'm gonna battle him.
Oh no, that's not. You know, well, that's for the lead. But what I'm talking about is Jacob. You know, Jacob. He slid up in front of Jacob. Jacob gave him the bump. They start battling. They're gonna go back to fourth, and then fourth is gonna join in on that battle in second. You know, and then Evans just gonna keep pulling away. You know, and they don't want that.
Well, we talk about Jacob, and you know, you got Anderson right there too, and actually Kerry. So actually, those three guys really have struggled this season, and I'll say maybe a little bit last season too. And they're top drivers. I mean, obviously Grant, you know, Jacob Grant's a past champion. Here he is also. Anderson might be well, I was here, but either way, they're fast, and I know it now. You can see the momentum right there. You see as Grant caught up some Sherwood, but those three drivers in themselves. I mean, you know, Caleb, that they are fast, but they've just not had the races, and the season has just not been. So this is a pretty good run for them right now. I've just not seen them. You know, they're veterans here at the Clean Racing League. They have just struggled. I don't know what has happened. Maybe just, you know, it happens in real life too. You have some great seasons, the next thing you know, you start struggling.
Yeah, and you know, the thing with these quick seasons, and I say quick seasons, they're like 2.5 months, but I mean, they're not like year-long championships. You know, you mess up one or two races, you're gonna be behind. There's no catching back up. That's if everyone shows up. You know, and with this league, I believe there's a grace window with how many races you can miss to make the playoffs.
Zach, how many Zach's out there in the chat, maybe still listening. Zach, how many drop weeks during the season? I think I'm gonna say one, but I could be wrong. As short as it is, I wouldn't see him, Chris, doing more than one because it's just such a small season. But now in the playoffs, there is no drop weeks. No, we just because obviously Zach missed, Rob missed last week. Fortunately, he was able to withstand. Zach was the one who actually hurt the most from that missing last. But I'm gonna go out on a limb. I could go back and read the rules. Probably in there. I have read the book, but I can't remember. I'll say it's one drop week now. You've raced here, Caleb. Bonus points, obviously penalty points, that comes into play too. I try not to get too much into that because I never know what that is. Yeah. I never know. So I just go off of straight points as we're looking at right now. That, like, let's say Rob Sherwood is to stay. If Rob stays where he's at, if Joshua stays where he's at, they're in next week. If Matt Dyer stays where he's at, he's in, basically. Now, again, penalty points, blah, 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 all that stuff.
So, with the penalty point thing, the penalty points do not exist anymore. In prior seasons, if you had a 4X or something, I think it was a 3-point deduction to your points total. I had a few of those in my time racing in this league, a few seasons ago. But they did away with that at the ending of last season.
Oh, well, Zach says 0 drop. Are you talking about? That's interesting right there. As Rob's pitting early. Wow.
Yeah,
early for
48.
Rob. Okay, yeah, so he pitted late the last one. But, all right, so Zach, I know it's 0 in the playoffs. Are you saying 0 drop weeks for the actual season? There is none at all? I mean, if so, I could probably see that because Caleb? We're 10 race, 12 race season, something like that. I might could see it because, like, how many?
I don't know how many races.
I think it's, I'm gonna say 10 for sake of. I'd have to go look back at the schedule, but let's say 10. And it might be less than that, like you said, but
that's 14.
It's 4. Okay, so let's say 10, and I could probably see that being 10 no drop week because that is kind of a small style season. So everybody coming in a lot earlier this time. Ow. Well, I don't know. We're at lap 50. Lap 50. So if they go another 28, 30 laps, they're going to push it to 80, which is 20 to go. Oh, might not be too. So no drop weeks in the regular season. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, I got you.
So now I will tell you there are two possibilities of pitch strategy going on here, and I can explain them real quick.
Right.
So what they got going on? They're all pitting lap 50. They can either go to lap 70 and pit because it's they've done it, or they can go 75, completely cut it in half, and run 225 stints. Right? Or they push it. They could push it, run 30, and then have 20 to the end and have fresher tires.
I'm gonna go off with you one that you're talking about, taking it to 70 or 75, and then just pitting and then just take it to the end. Because if I'm a racer, there is no way. Again, got to go off the track and knowing how this track works. Then I'm gonna split that 25-25 because here's what's gonna happen with that one. That second pit, you're gonna be marred back in traffic, or you're gonna be green flag pit stops. There's one thing about green flag pits, you know this, Caleb, is let's say you have a second lead. Normally, it extends that lead. How that works, I've never understood how it happens. I mean, a guy can have the same darn pit stop as you, but still, for some reason, green flag pit stops stretch out leads. It's weird science, and I don't even try to understand it. But
Well, it also has to play into how aggressive the driver is going to be. Because, like, I know myself, I was always really aggressive. It bit me several times, but I mean, I was always really aggressive on pit entry and the pit exit. The pit exit here at Auto Club is always really slick, so you kind of got to tone it back a little bit. But you can be really aggressive on that pit entry, and we've seen it with Ghost Abram earlier. He was already on the apron in the middle of 3 and 4. You can come off turn 4 and arc it down and just slam on the brakes, especially if you're swapping tires. You don't need those anymore.
Well, Ghost is not going to come in early. He's looking to take this thing and go one more pit stop. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it would be a death wish to, I know it's wrong choice of words, but to do 2 pit strategy now. He's kind of, actually, Ghost is coming in now. To do a 2 pit strategy. And the reason is I go back to what I was saying is on that second one, you would be so far behind, probably go a lap down if somebody stayed out, that is, or several people stayed out. If you went a lap down here on green flag, you're going to stay a lap down. I mean, unless you're just right behind the leader, you'll be able to get it back. But if you, I mean, like right now, you got Stevens, Turner, and Kane Calhoun.
With the way the race has been going, and oh no, he slid through his box. Ghost slid through his box. Ghost did. He slid through.
He didn't back up.
He got it. No, he slid through and put it in reverse. Oh man, he
had 16 second stop. Yep, that hurt him a little bit.
Oh man.
And I don't know about you, Caleb. I have this saying: mental mistakes. On road, and I love road racing, by the way. I love GT3 cars. But on oval, the number one mental mistake is pit road. Getting in and off pit road, getting in and out of your pit box. That is the number one. And we have seen, even in real life, many of races won and lost on pit road. Now, obviously, yes, passing, getting your marks on the track, but pit road for oval. You get into road racing, there's so many other aspects there, apex, gearing, blah, blah, blah. There's so much different there that mental mistakes can come in there, because I always talk about in road racing, the lead distance is different. Like here, if you have, like for instance, Altice right now, he has a 5.9 second lead over Evan Kinney. That is a huge lead on oval track. On a road course, not so much, because it wouldn't take but maybe one hard good spin and a turn, and you're going to wipe out pretty much half or 3/4 of that lead just by one turn on a road course. So that's the big difference between oval and road racing. That's why I enjoy it a lot. Kind of one of them strategy things. But yeah, I mean, you see Kenny right here. You got Altice, who's out front. He pitted at lap 31. So yeah, he's on a lot of older tires. This is where you'll probably see tires, the major tire difference is when you're this far different. And that's why you're going to see Kenny catch
25 laps, 26 laps now.
Yeah.
I'm Josh, to me, I think he's running that 30, 60, 90, and then 10 sprint to the end, and I only think that's going to hurt him. If it works, I was wrong. But I mean, you got, if we can go to the battle for second, we got Evan, Jacob, and Rob all together.
They're all like that. Yeah, they're all like, well, they pitted at 49, 49, 48. And then they actually got Anderson there pitted at 50. Yeah, they're all right there on top of each other, pit strategy.
And they've almost caught Josh, but, the thing, so here's where it gets tricky. And, back to me being wrong, I don't think I'm wrong very often, but I'm looking at the telemetry right here, and it's taken them 10 laps to catch Josh, and they still haven't even called him. They're still a second back. So if he does do the 30, 60, 90, in that 10 laps, if he's out front, they might not be able to catch him.
I said that earlier in the race, didn't I? It's a product of this track. That's it. And you know, you're right. It's a product of this track. This track is so, even though you might be, you know, faster with the tires, you're going to just run out of time if the time is right. And I've seen it so many times. You can see now, all times now, they finally caught him. But you're right. Look how long it took them. Lap 59. They pitted at lap, what, 49? So solid 10 laps it took them to catch him. Let's say he even takes 2 tires. He's going to be even further in front of those guys. You follow me?
No.
So, track position, it being here. Now we got a battle up front.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, you got Jacob. You got Jacob trying to go for his second win of the season. You know, and he got eliminated in the first round. So I'm not saying he's not racing for much. You know, winning. You know, he's my teammate. You know, or former teammate in this league. But you know, he likes winning. I know him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
but he's a past champ too. That's what I'm saying. And I know it's frustrating. You know, Caleb, and you got to be in this book too. It's frustrating when you're a past champ and you know you're quick, but then all of a sudden you start struggling and you just don't have that speed you used to have. And because we're used to seeing Jacob up here doing this stuff. I'm used to seeing Kenny up here doing it, but here lately they've struggled. It's nothing for me to see Rob up here because I see him up here all the time. The only thing I sweat about Rob is he always usually ends up getting in trouble. Something happens bad to him. It's a bad mojo or something. But yeah, those 2 guys up front, they've struggled. And that's something that's a true champion or that shows the true driver is when these guys can overcome, and maybe they found it back now, found that speed. And, you know,
and Evan's a champion. I'm not sure if he's a Clean Racing Truck Series champion. I'm pretty sure he is.
Evan? Yeah, I'm not sure about Evan. I know Grant is. I know Grant. Yeah.
I know Evan has, when it was the Cup Series, he had a championship. He had 2 championships over there. So Evan is a champion, and he knows how to win these races.
Zach, give us some inside info, man. Let's do some investigating, reporting somebody.
Especially these long run races, Evan is very good at figuring out what can work. You know, but if we're talking about clutching a race, Jacob's not the guy that you want behind you.
Altice is another one that comes to mind on that one.
Yeah. I think he's still out there.
Yeah, you know, he's Altice is. I don't know what he's doing, 30, but he's in 5th.
He's 32 laps into his current run.
Wow,
that's
he's pushing it. So is Lane Hoosler. Hoosler, you know what? We're going to talk about Hoosler because obviously he's in. He put it at lap 33.
Yeah, but you know, with Lane, I don't really. You know, I'm not saying this is an off week for him, but I think he's already started practicing for next week. Yeah. Like I know when I made the championship. I don't know.
Phoenix.
Actually,
Phoenix.
We're at Phoenix next week.
So now that track. Yeah, now that track tires will come in a factor. That's one of them weird tracks, but we'll get into that later. Looking back here on Chris Smith. Always got to check out his truck, man. Got the cleanracingleague.com machine out there. Looks like it's got a Craftsman logo on the top of it, I always say. Good looking truck that's out here. Smith, man, does a good job, man, with the league here, running it. You know, I got to appreciate it, man. It's been a good season so far for these guys at Clean Racing League here. Definitely go check out cleanracingleague.com. Get you up to speed on, you know, everything going on. You know, we're talking about championship. We're talking about, you know, past champions and anything like that. So Chris took over the helms. I have not seen Fred here lately, man. I used to always like to see what Fred's going to come out with a paint job. He used to come out with something, man, it's wild, but hope Fred is doing okay. In the last couple weeks, I don't know if anybody out there heard from him. You heard from him, Caleb?
When I raced Richmond a few weeks back, that was kind of like my one-off race for the season. He was at that race. I didn't really pay attention. I haven't really kept up with the season, like, you know, all the races and everything.
All places in, by the way.
He's into the pits.
Yeah.
It's what that was like 65 he pitted on. You know,
that's crazy.
But that was what he went from 31 to. You know, he can make it to the end off this pit stop.
Yeah, but how much advantage is it going to give him? I mean, is it? We'll just have to see at the end, because as many times I would say, well, this is a bad pit stop. This is not going to work. Believe me, I've been fooled so many times. Yeah, I'm with you. You know, we go back on the talking about Fred. I know I saw a message after one time he said he was taking a race off or something like that, but seen him in a couple, so I hope he's doing okay. If anybody out there knows, I mean, has kept in contact with him, hope he's doing all right. You know, miss him out here. I miss him out here racing. I mean, you know, good dude. He just came out, ran. I like looking at his paint jobs. We got a battle for the lead though still. I mean, Grant's there. Got Kenny. How much does Grant push here a little bit? I mean, these guys are running pretty much dead heat even. They definitely don't want Rob to get there on the back bumper of them. Then it's going to be a 3-truck race. And then, and there again, even, let's say Rob gets up here. Rob has more to lose than these two front guys. These front guys want to win. And this is where I go back to that. And the reason I say this, Caleb, is because I have seen this, all right? And I hate seeing it. I mean, that's a harsh word to use, but I don't like seeing it. Is two guys like up front, and then they see a contender running up on them fat. They'll just move out the way. Nah. If I'm fast and you're a contender, you're coming around me. I'm not going to wreck you. Try not to wreck you, you know. But I'm not just going to move over. And that's the one thing, man, not to say that these two guys would, but if Rob gets up here with them, that's where he's got to be a little bit more careful than what the two guys in front of him are.
Now, I'm not saying they need to move over for Rob, and I don't think they're going to by any means. When I was out of the playoffs and I was racing, I always did my best to give the championship contenders more room. I'm not saying I'd let them go. I'm saying I would give them more room because I didn't want to mess up what they had been working for all season. Because, you know, for me, I only showed up for the road courses. You know,
right.
Like you said earlier, I'm the road ringer. So, like, you know, back the last road course race I raced, they had the penalty points. You know, and I used up every bit of the penalty points that I could have used. I had nothing to lose. And, you know, and like these guys up front, they have nothing to lose. But at the same time, I don't think Rob is going to do anything risky. If Rob stays where he is, he's going to lock himself in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think he just needs to stay patient, which I know he will. Because...
Hey, that's the big picture. That's what you got to look at, big picture.
Oh, both in the wall.
That's what he needs. That's one way of getting around him. I said earlier, guy in front of him make a mistake, capitalize on it.
Evan and Jacob both just hit the wall coming out of turn 4. It doesn't seem like it affected Evan Kinney as much as it affected Jacob Grant, though.
Jacob hit it pretty solid on that side pancaked it. And you know, we was talking about earlier, that's kind of how you'll see a guy, man, just go shooting by someone if he makes a mistake out front. But that's a good point you're bringing up there. You talk about it. The reason is because I've seen so many manipulations of races before. And, you know, Rob here, sure, he wants to win just like anybody else. But at the end of the day, the big picture is championship. And I think Rob also, unfortunately, He's got his rabbit's foot out now because it hasn't hit him in the last couple of weeks or so. But there, he was going through a string of weeks where he was dominant like you're seeing right now. But then something would happen. Pit stop go bad. He'd get caught up in somebody's mess. Or something would just go horribly wrong at the end of the race. And so now, and see, Grant's coming back a little bit, so not equal. Yeah, it's just, I mean, Rob's fast. There's no denying that. There's no denying it. But has he had some bad luck? Oh, yeah.
So a look into Jacob Grant's mind right now. He's hit the wall, and he's not happy. He knows he just lost a whole bunch of time on Evan, and he is driving everything. He's getting everything
Here's where
out
Rob
of that
needs to
truck
be
right
careful.
now. Yeah, because, you know, like you said, Jacob and Evan, they got nothing to lose. They're not racing for the championship. Rob is, and, you know, Rob, I think Rob just let him go. Rob knows bigger picture, you know?
Hey, I'm with you on that one. I think he did. Yeah, I think another thing is, I can also say here is he's coming on pit road. I was about to say, it almost looked like he didn't have, he was about equal speed with those guys. So it wasn't like he was fast or slower. There was no use to get up there and battle them side by side, take a chance of wrecking. But now he's on pit road, and we've got gonna be 25 to go here soon.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, splitting it in half. So, and I think this is going to be the winning strategy. I would keep an eye on Josh Altus though. That could change the way things go here. I don't think it's going to
problem
work.
with Josh is he's a lap down.
Yeah, that
hurts.
Yeah, that
lap down? Pit stop wasn't too bad. I mean, he was pretty much equal to everybody else. He had a second, 50 on the total. Pulled everybody. I don't know why.
You know, Rob just had a pretty, I would say, slower stop. It's a second slower than the average we've been seeing, 15.8 compared to the 14.9s.
And also the in and out hit a 52.18, so somewhere in and out of pit road. You know, I like that little statistic because that's something that a lot of people don't get to see. That, and actually in real life, they don't talk a lot about that. I like it because I can see it right there. Actually, it just changed to 50, so that's good. It must have been coming out of. No, I say 52. Excuse me. I like talking about that because. Yeah, now we got a leader on pit road. I like talking about it because it's not only just the pit stop itself. Obviously, like what you said, yeah, you had a 1580. But you can lose time, like what you said, how you're coming in on pit road, and the time that you get to your box. And they can blink in just a little bit. And when you come out of your box, the time that it gets off of pit road. So, you know, that's it's another time that I like seeing because, you know, you've got guys out here like Jeremy Moyer, a 48.95 was his total time, pit stop and everything. And we were talking about losing time, to a 52.18 total time. Well, that's what? Over a second? Wow. That's huge on the track, you know?
Absolutely. Jeremy is in a must-win spot here, and he has put himself out front. And, you know, he's got 6 lap older tires than Rob, so Rob's going to be going here. But
just
Rob
not enough, I don't think.
Yeah, but Rob has put himself in front of Evan and Jacob.
Yep.
We got a little bit of lap traffic, and
close.
Rob just made contact with the 84 Jordan Rockwell. Almost spun him sideways.
You see Kenny right here on the back bumper.
I'll say that was a really good save by Jordan Brockwell on the 84.
Nice.
He was sideways in 3 and 4. So that could have been the bad luck streak that you were talking about with Rob.
Yeah.
Because Rob's the one that hit him.
Many times I've seen it, man. It's like it's a bad mojo around Rob for some reason. He gets out here dominating. He's got a great truck, et cetera. And then something just absolutely happens, and boom, there you go. He's going to send it to the lead, but here comes Kenny. And here's what Rob needs to think about. Kenny wants to win. Rob needs to stay up front, and there is a lap difference between the tires. It all depends on how fast he gets around. That Moyer's just going to give it up because he's on a lot new older tires.
That was Jeremy's only opportunity to attempt to make the championship, and I hate it for him. I don't think mathematically he can make it. I think he was in a must-win. Same thing with Jason Stewart. Jason Stewart was also 10 back. You know, it's the way the points play out.
Matthew would have to fall out the race now. Matthew would Dyer would have to fall out the race, or Rob would have to fall out the race. Really, one of those would have to fall out the race and finish back in, like you said, 16, 17, 18th place spot. But they could only fall back as far as 18th right.
No.
So that would be a battle for the lead, and here's where Rob needs to look, and I think Rob knows, man, Kenny's just way faster. If I push this, I mean, he's going to try. He wants to win, and then, he drove it in hard, but then that truck got tight. See that? Wow.
I mean, I don't think Rob knows he has a fast truck, right? And Rob wants to win, but I also know Rob wants that championship trophy more than he wants a win out of it.
Absolutely.
So, listen, I finished second 2 weeks in a row and take the championship trophy.
Sure.
So,
heck yeah. I mean, hey, be called champ. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Especially when I've won 3 times already in the season.
Yeah.
So, but you know, Rob's thinking bigger picture. The only thing Evan needs to worry about now is just consistency, and because I don't think Rob's going to contend. Not contend, like, as I guess, he's not going to bother him, you know?
Yeah. When you look at next week, it's pretty much whoever finishes in front of whoever at Phoenix. And right now we know Lane, and if the race was to end, obviously Rob's going to be there. Altice is going to be there because he's in 10th, and Dyer, because they're all in the top 10. That's going to be your final 4. If nothing drastically changes as is, you can skip around folks right now showing you the big playoff lead. So going into next week, there is no championship points. All this talking that we're talking about, yeah, you go for it then. It'll be interesting. I mean, because Phoenix is one of them tracks where, tires will play a little factor. It's a lot different than what this Auto Club is. A lot to see, but right now, I'm with you, man, Caleb. Rob just knows, hey, the big picture. I stay right here. I'm in. Thing is, does Grant got enough to catch Rob? Does he got enough time? A second back? He's only running.
Jacob is the fastest car in the top 5 right now. I think Jacob. I think Jacob knows that if he's going to catch him, he's got to do it now. Because not only does he have to pass Rob, he's got to also pass the leader in Evan. And Evan has had the most dominant car tonight. And it just goes back to
he picked it up that last time. Yeah, lap time.
Yeah, I'd say they both did. It's only a 10th now, but Rob's still 3/10 off.
I think Rob's just in cruise mode right now. I hate to say it that way, and I know Rob wants to win. I know he's fat, but I think he's in the cruise mode. Look, I'm in the final 4. I'm like what we was talking about before. Why these two guys want to kill each other to win? Go for it,
Just don't catch me up in it,
Yeah, don't get me involved in it. Please don't.
Oh no. Look, listen. I've had that happen to me before. People racing and it takes me out. And it ruins something that I've had going on. And it sucks. It really, really does. But Jacob's now catching Rob. They're running 2 different lines. Jacob's trying to get some clean air. I think, wow, he had a really big run.
Yeah, he did. Doesn't matter how long it takes him to get around him. He's going to want that
Oh.
outside.
Wow, he really squeezed his truck there, didn't he?
He squeezed it. See, this is where Rob needs to be, like, okay, all right, Grant, you're going to be a little more aggressive. Hey, go on.
Yeah, and he's going to let him go right here, rightfully so. I'm not going to fight you. You go do what you're going to go do.
I think he's going to run out of time catching Kenny, though. He's only running about a tenth faster.
He's got 15 laps, and if he's doing a tenth a lap, it was what, 10th and a half last. So I mean,
we'll see if Kenny picks it up. That's another thing we never know is how much the leader is. I don't know. I know you've got the relevance in there, and sometimes you're watching behind you. You're like, all right, I'm going to get him all the way down to a second, and I'm going to hold him at that second. Now, I've talked about that several times. That's a strategy for the leader. Kenny could be doing that. Then we get that arrow push that we talked about. They could get right there as close as he can, and then boom, just can't get any closer. I mean, he gained a lot right there out of that turn.
Well, and right now, you also have to think, you have a lapped car of Chris Smith, in front of the leader, Evan Kinney. Jacob and Chris are teammates. Oh, and big push right there from Evan.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time that last lap.
Yeah. Him being behind Chris is only slowing him down. He needs to get around him if he's going to keep Jacob behind. Because Jacob's putting in, he's already put 3/10 in the past 2 laps. He's got to go.
Oh.
So, Jacob's running the high one here.
Well, Chris got the same amount of tires. I'm not quite sure what Kenny's doing. Again, this is a product of this track. We can sit up here all day long. Oh, yeah, he should just go blowing right by Chris. Not so easy on this track. This track in particular. It takes you a while to get around them. Now, like what you said, Chris and Jacob being teammates.
Now,
once Kenny gets around him, I mean, I don't think Jacob's going to have as hard a time getting around him.
Yeah. And there Evan goes, passing him. He's going to let him go. But I don't think Chris is going to give as hard of a time. And I don't even think he was giving Evan as hard of a time. I think it was just he was so far in front, Evan couldn't make the move. It's just one of those things. It's the product of the racing that we're seeing.
Yeah, track, Auto Club, gotta love it. I mean, it's fuel mileage. It's whoever's got track position. It's one of these places that, and I think you have to really appreciate that kind of racing. It's almost like road racing. You've got to appreciate road racing because a lot of times you're racing the track instead of the other drivers around you.
Yeah.
And some people don't like that and whatnot. So as we see now, Grant going, and that's what I thought. Chris is not going to really put up much of a fight.
He's got it within 3.5 tenths here. Jacob has brought it to Evan,
and it's taken him 4 laps.
We're gonna have a 10-lap shootout here for the lead. Now,
what Grant don't need to do is hit the wall. Don't hit the wall.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He cannot get into that dirty air of Evan, the 91 truck, and hit the wall like he did before the last pit stop. Because with the new iRacing damage model and everything, there's some damage they can't fix.
Yeah.
Anymore.
The meatball flag or something they talk about. Oh, something I don't know.
Yeah, that's like your truck is so messed up. You're gonna have to just come back next week. So.
Oh, he got a good run that time coming down that stretch. It seems like the middle of the turn is where Evan is better. You saw it right there. Grant's truck just died. So he's coming out of 3 and 4. It looked like Kenny was a lot better coming out of 4, but 1 and 2, you saw, man, Grant get that run down the back stretch. Well, let's see if he gets that run again. To cut him off, but who's this in the 74? That's
Jeremy Moore.
The best thing there for Kenny to do is just let him go. Get there and battle, and that's going to give Grant. But yeah, watch out. 1 and 2. Watch the run he gets down the back stretch here. And yeah, that's it. He's got it on 1 and 2, Evan, man. Huge.
He's got him cleared right now. I wonder if Evan's gonna try to do a cutback. No, he's
Yeah,
moving
that
outside.
middle of 3 and 4, man. Evan Kinney.
Oh, he's pushing.
that
He's in the
could be
wall. Oh no.
Ah. Well, he drove it. I'll give him credit. He drove it in there.
I mean, the race still isn't over. I wonder if he still has time to catch him, but you know that right side's going to be hurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on a limb at .3. He's gonna need Grant now to make a mistake.
Well, you know,
they're so close. They're so close. If this was any other track, I would say yeah, but just a half-second gap with 9 laps to go, or 9 laps to go. And with those two guys running as close as they are now, I think that move right there hurt. And we talked about it with Grant. If he would have done the same thing, man.
You know, and then you got Nathan Brown on the inside of his teammate here, trying to get one of his laps back.
He's back here in 13th. Right, yeah, this is not helping out Kenny any by them two sitting there battling.
No.
Saw him coming in at lap 83. We talked about Joshua Altice. Obviously, the pit strategy not working out like he wants. I mean, he's up to 10th right here. Yeah. He did not pit again. He pitted on lap 65. Got Ghost right there in 9th. Thurwood's going to hold off on 3rd. Matthew going to see if he can. He's probably going to stay in 5th. Yeah, he's got a 9-second lead over Carey and a 1-7 behind Anderson. Something just majorly happens there. Justin Carey, not a bad night for him. He's there in 6th.
I would say we haven't really talked about him much this evening. You know, it's kind of been a quiet season.
It has. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm used to seeing him, you know, Grant, Kenny, and those guys up front all the time. And
okay,
it's just,
now,
boom.
Now hold. I'm sorry. Evans catching Jacob again. He's within 2/10. I know. We're 5 to go here. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, we're gonna see. That last lap was a 19 to 11.
Now, do we see the
look
bumper?
at that run coming off the turn. Wow.
Oh, but he had to lift a little bit, not to hit the wall. He's losing a little bit here, but I think he's gonna send it.
Well, another thing let's bring up here too. We talk about drivers. Talk about drivers a lot of time. You get right here and I know you've been in this position before, Caleb. I've been in it. I'm like, oh man, I'm fast. The guy in front of me. If I just push the truck just a little bit, I can get around it. That's the worst thing to do, because then you're going to get yourself in trouble. You know?
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Be patient, be clean, and let it happen. Because I know you just want to, if I just mash the gas a little bit harder, if like what you just said, if I send it into the turn just a little bit more. And the bad thing is, sure, you might get that drive going into the turn, but you're going to have to lift, because if not, you end up maybe wrecking yourself or the other guy. But yeah, it's frustrating as a driver. This is a good race here.
Yeah, no, he's called him. I'm very interested to see what the outcome is going to be, because Evan has the truck to win this race. It's
Do
just
you
a
think
matter
maybe
of
some of the aero push coming into play? I think it might be a little bit. And a product of this track where momentum, obviously, we've seen it all day. You know, it's tough to pass here. Again, this is a perfect example of you're not going to see somebody just go zoom right on by. But what do you think about the aero push here a little bit?
Well, as I mean, you know, we're seeing it right now on the screen. He's looking for a lane that Jacob's not in.
Right.
And then he's pushing right up to the wall. And to this point, he's doing a really good job of managing where the truck is and how much he can push it. Because, you know, he's been within 2/10 this entire time. But wherever Jacob goes, he's going the opposite. So if Jacob goes high, he's going to go low.
Because and this is just one of these tracks, like what you just said there.
Yeah, and the moment he gets in behind him in the corner, his race is gone.
Well, that last lap was a 21-22, so they're dead even. You know, as far as maybe that might be some hope him blinking a little bit. Maybe Grant loses out, and we'll see what happens. And you definitely don't want to be on the back bumper of somebody else in there. You'd be like, man, come on. But coming up on the final laps, 2 to go here. And next week we crown it a champ at the final 4. But these 2 guys up here, they're battling for the lead. We got Grant out front, Kenny right behind him. And it looks like Eric Anderson is taking the 3rd place away from Sherwood. We'll go back here and check that right now. Yeah, Anderson, he's got a little bit newer tires, about a lap newer tires than Rob. We'll see if Rob tries to fire back on the outside here. We'll watch this battle for a second. As we're going to get the white flag here, Caleb. And how much battling does Rob do? I mean, because I know Anderson would love to cap off this race with a good finish. He hasn't had many. Looks like he's going to make that pass, so let's see if Kenny, man, up here's got his white flag one more time.
So he is on his bumper going into turn 1, and he's going to shoot to the inside. Like I said, he's going anywhere Jacob's not. So
don't have that momentum. Yeah, this is a perfect example of Auto Club right there. And it's frustrating. I got a faster truck, but I can't make the pass. Final turn, final time for that man, Jacob. And I think he's going to hold him off unless he just messes totally up coming out of this turn. Kenny's going to just drive it, and he does. But, man, what a race. What a way. Here's our final 4. It's going to be set for next week. But Jacob Grant winning. Kenny second. Anderson there with a good finish in 3rd. So, man, Caleb, what a race.
Yeah, no, those last 10 laps got my heart beating. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That battle for the lead, like that was amazing. Look, Jacob's my teammate, but you know, I'm big fans of Evan, Nate, Jeremy, you know, all the guys at SMB. So that was wonderful. I'm happy they did it clean. You know, I'm happy he didn't wreck them, because that would have been bad.
Oh yeah.
Because then, yeah, you know, because then I gotta, you know, be like, oh, so, but no, that was great. You know, I'm happy Jacob won. You know, but I'm also, you know, happy that we got to see the battle between Evan. So, oh man.
Well, let's bring up
Eric 3rd.
We'll bring up 3rd place person. Let you get a word with him, Eric Anderson.
Hey, Eric, you got us in the booth?
Hey, Caleb, gotcha.
Hey, man, how's it going? So you finished 3rd tonight, you know, relatively quiet night from you, up until those final few laps, where you got Rob. How was the truck tonight?
Man, this is the way I like it. Quiet, smooth, all night long, and just show up. So, worked out good. I try to be that quiet guy, not make a lot of waves early.
All right. Well, do you have anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to say hey to my buddy Randy. He owns ESPN Radio of Northwest Florida, and he always supports me and checks everything out. I want to say hi to my sister and my 91-year-old mother, my 90-year-old mother out there. She watches every night. She enjoys watching her son out here have some fun. So I'd like to thank Joe at the OSRN Network, of course, for putting these on, and you for stepping in tonight and helping as you did. And Chris for running a cool league. We have a good time around here.
All right, man. Well, congrats on your 3rd place finish.
You got it. Thanks, Caleb.
And there you go. Oh, Eric Anderson, like you said, man, doing what he needed to do. But let's bring up old Evan Kenny up here, man. Let's get a word with him.
Hey, Evan, you got me?
Caleb, I got you.
Hey, man. So, you know, I said it a lot during the race. You had the most dominant truck, in my opinion. You know, you led pretty early, and then towards the end, you know, Jacob got the lead. But I mean, you gave him a battle towards the end. Well, how was your race, and what happened?
Yeah, Really, I think I just saved too much tire on that last run. I didn't think I saw Jacob running the top groove the entire race almost, and I didn't think that tires would hang on that long, just based upon what I saw in practice with the top groove. So, props to him for getting his tires last that long up there in the top. I was kind of just waiting for him to fall off, and he did with like 3 to go. But that late in the run, you can't really pass anybody, so I just kind of got stuck there.
I got you. Well, it was super fun to watch up here in the booth. Do you have anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, you guys for putting on a great broadcast, and my Brownie Racing boys. Like to give a shout out to Jeremy for a good run this season. He doesn't get to advance, but put on a heck of a show this season, and just props to all my teammates for getting us ready every week to go out there and be competitive.
All right, man. Well, congrats on your second place finish.
Thanks, Caleb.
Well, there you go. That's Evan Kinney, man, bringing it up, man. They didn't kill him tonight. But with this guy here, though, he was able to hold off, put it in victory lane. Jacob Joy in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's going on, Joe?
Well, you was able to hold off up there, man. Typical Auto Club, man. You know, the pit strategy, tires, and all that stuff, fuel miles and all came to play. But, I mean, was there any point there? I mean, even when you were behind Rob, did you maybe think, am I going to be able to catch those guys up front?
Yeah, I was actually just talking with Eric in the waiting room and was telling him whenever I pit on the last time and I came out 3 seconds behind Rob and 2.5 behind Evan, I had no faith that I was going to catch them at all. And then out of nowhere, I started catching them. And I was like, oh, I actually have a shot to win this thing. So I started ripping the wall and kept it up there and started running a little bit higher in 3 and 4, and the truck kind of balanced out, and it felt really, really good. I don't know why anybody else didn't really try it.
Was you a little worried there, man? You look like Kenny, man, had a little bit of run coming on you, and y'all two, man, were just battling. But I mean, was that kind of like, oh man, what's he going to do? Is he going to, bumper to me or something like that?
Nah, Evan's a very good, respectful driver. I don't think he would put the bumper to me unless it was for the championship, but I'd do the same back to him or anybody else for that. But I had faith that I could hold him off after I got by him because it's super hard to pass here. And I think the run before the last, I tried to pass him and got really, really tight and had to check up a lot because I couldn't get by him on the inside, and he was just blocking the outside because he knew that's where I like to run. But once I got by him, I wasn't afraid that I was going to be able to hold him off.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, one last thing here is I know it's been a struggle. You're a past champion here in the league, but how good does it feel to finally put it in victory lane? Because I know it's been a struggle this season for you, and we talked about you, Evan, and all those. I'm used to seeing you guys up there week in and week out, but it's just been kind of a struggle. And maybe what's it taken to try to get back on the right track to get yourself back here in victory lane?
I know I won once earlier this season. I just don't remember what track it was at. I can't remember. Caleb, do you have a refresher on that?
Who knows?
Anyways, I know I won earlier in the season, and ever since that win, it's been a up and down struggle. I've been either caught up in a wreck, or I just had some bad luck go my way, or pit road mistakes, or just myself not being able to do the correct things and stay perfect throughout the race. So it's been an uphill battle, but we'll be back and hopefully be in the Final Four next season.
Hey, well, I'll tell you what, like I say, I know you got speed, you got talent. I've seen it, been out here week in and week out. You got anybody you want to thank for the win tonight?
Yeah, first I'd like to thank you for hosting the broadcast and allowing Caleb to come in the booth. Thank Caleb for joining you up there. I'm going to go back. I'm sure it's an amazing broadcast to watch. I'm going to thank everybody in the league, everybody who shows up and races with all of us, and the new guys who are coming in next season. We got some big things coming that Chris is going to be announcing here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and it's going to be exciting. So thank everybody for racing with us and sticking with us for as long as you have. All my High Five teammates, Caleb Smith, Chris Smith, Abram Ghostum, and yeah, that's about it. I'd like to thank my girlfriend Caitlin. She watches every week. It's a big help. Yeah,
we don't want you not to miss next week, man. 'Cause you got hit in the head with a frying pan. You got to thank her. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, man, congratulations on that win there, Jacob.
All right, thank you.
There we go. Well, I tell you what, man, Caleb, man, it was a good race. I mean, for Auto Club standards, this was a good race. Good battle there at the end. Kind of typical of what we was talking about. You know, a track position, fuel strategy, Cedric pit stops playing a good one there. And we saw it by Jacob coming up there taking the lead and the win. But it sets us up for next week, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You know, if you allow me, I'll come back, commentate it with you. And then, but yeah, no, the final four should still be the same: Lane Holzler, Josh Altus, Rob Sherwood, and Matt Dyer racing for the championship. So it should be pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, man, again, I appreciate you coming up here, man. It's always good, man, to have somebody up here, especially coming out of the seat, been on the track, been racing, you know, because it's been a while since I've been out there. Good to see the perspective. But, man, I want to thank everybody out there. Next week, we crown a champ, Clean Racing League. And for myself and everyone, have a good night.